2, 1. You're live. It says we're ready. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome. This is Guitar Talk at Gary's Guitars. Today we have a special guest. This is not Gary. This is Mike Luz. Did you say Luz?
Luz.
Luz.
Yeah. L-U-Z.
Yeah, just like it's spelled. But
yeah.
And
I say like fuzz.
Fuzz, yeah. With
Fuzz
2
pedal.
Z. You should put an extra Z on the end of your name.
Yeah. See, that I was born in the wrong decade. I'm a good glam rock man.
All right, so everyone knows the rules, I think, or at least the people who arrive early.
Rules?
Yeah, just ask questions about guitars, guitar repair, all sorts of fun, anything to do with the guitars, as well as we also talk about playing music, writing music, all that kind of stuff. And what we'll do to get going is, and we also ask that people, as they come into the room, just chime in and say hello. I got a tablet here, just kind of so we know people are out there and who's out there and who are the regulars and who are the new regulars and all that good stuff. So let's talk about you for a minute.
Cool.
What's your deal? No. Yeah, so you are a musician,
yes,
songwriter, performing musician as well.
Yeah, recording,
performing.
20 or so years now.
So you are actually, what brings you, the reason we know you so well is you are a collector of guitars, a buyer of guitars, a seller of guitars, and a lot of people talk about that.
I'm a hand mixer in the guitar market.
Yeah, yeah, you're just in there.
I'm just getting it. I'm just mixing it up.
You know, the kind with the crank on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
And but you keep the best ones and you pass it. So a lot of people love that idea.
It doesn't resonate for me.
Yeah, and so of finding the perfect guitar, trying a lot of things to find the perfect guitar.
Yep. Right, and the question of the perfect guitar. I mean, it's a very personal thing, because there's general aspects of it that you can sort of generalize and talk about, but then there's the very personal experiential attachment you can kind of get with music through, then the object can kind of take on that shine of that attachment.
And what the objects actually take on, like the guitar, I like to say, factory guitars especially, they all come out, they're all supposed to be identical. They're all different, and they all live this other life, and they all travel in different directions, and they get different, you could say mojo. I kind of believe in that.
Yeah.
I'm not a very metaphysical or a spiritual person in that respect, but I do believe that we embody this into the instruments. So the person who owned your guitar before you left something in there, left some DNA, literal DNA on it, on the fingerboard with the sweat and such.
Sometimes you can smell it.
Yeah, the smoke. The best guitars smell like smoke.
Yeah,
especially the best electric guitars will have.
They have bellies. They smell like smoke.
Yeah, just like your uncle. Yeah. A big belly smells like smoke. Coming apart. The waist is coming apart a little bit. Yeah. All right, check in with the room here for a second. Are fretless guitars basically impossible via intonation and other issues? They're not impossible. Playing chords on them is very difficult, but
definitely
people play fretless guitars.
It's a little more like a trombone.
Yeah,
there's a certain physical connection of your dexterity to pitch. That you need.
Yeah, that you develop it. Or like on a bass,
or stand-up bass, exactly.
You develop it. You'd be surprised how well you can play in tune. Playing several, couple notes at the same time is pretty easy. At a third note, it gets a little harder, and then past that, it does get challenging.
Oh yeah.
But there are definitely people, and then the sliding, you can do on, which is pretty fun. It's cello-like in some respects,
Definitely violin.
So
it's the old way.
Let's see here. Please make sure your subscription is active and that bell. Oh yeah. Well, thank you for. Someone just chimed that in the room. So subscribe if you haven't, because that helps keep this thing going. Mm-hmm. Thanks for that. DJ Play Nice. So who else we got here? Melvin Taylor. Oh my goodness. How you doing? Nice to see you out there. Melvin Taylor, speaking of, he's a songwriter, singer from Lowell, Massachusetts. Known him for 30 years, not quite 30, but early 2000s, so 25 years or something. And I've been definitely a fan of his, and it's great to see you out there. Let's see what else is happening here. So tell me about your guitar journey. So you assumably as a teenager started playing guitar or something, and then
yeah, 15, 16, I think it was. It's sort of a simultaneous thing. A friend of mine had kind of a musical family. His dad played guitar, so he had guitars around. So started hanging out with him, and my brother got a guitar at the same time. So sort of wherever I was sort of seeing guitar around, someone learning it. So I started picking at it, and I remember very vividly the first thing I did was played Smoke on the Water right away.
Oh, okay. Just by ear.
Just like, boop, 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 boop. And just kind of really, I'd say since then it's been just an obsession thing.
Yeah.
Fixation.
And so this actually fits in with some kind of ADHD thing you got going on or something like, this is,
something definitely. I'm not sure if they've diagnosed it yet.
Yeah, exactly. There's GAS, GAS. Know that,
that's for sure. Yeah.
And so, there is, it scratches inside your brain. It scratches a little itch in a special place, especially. And so, but you do enjoy the process of buying and selling guitars, and not just. Some people do it because they think they can flip them and make money, but you do it to experience the guitar.
Yes.
And if it's not the right one, then you'll move it along.
Exactly.
From what I can tell, you're not obsessed with making a markup on it. Sometimes you just want to get back out of it. It's just the price of I call it the price of tuition.
Yeah, no, I think that's really accurate. Yeah, no, and I think it's a good way to look at it. If you're in a situation like I'm in where I can do this, I mean, it's not really it's definitely not a money making thing. It's I'm at a loss on it, but the gain is the experience with the guitars and the ones that I really connect with. I mean, that's the thing is if you get into this sort of thing, everyone's in it for different reasons, or doing different things. And I'm always skating the line of, as a musician, I know I just need one. I'm like, I just need one. I just, because that's what I had for years. And so I'm always kind of going between the acquisition, the actually maintaining a collection, which is you need the space. You got to think about it, maybe insure it.
Tell us how many guitars currently in the collection?
It's a good question. Actually, just counted last night. Okay. I have 25 acoustics, and 14 are keepers. So ones that I'm like, these are mine. And then 11 I'm moving.
Come and go, right now. That's interesting too. 25. That's I sometimes, but I have difficulty myself counting because is an electric bass, an electric, a different instrument. There's a electric guitar and acoustic guitar. Primarily acoustic guitar. Is that your thing?
That's just what I got. But it's kind of the bug I got bit by. I was playing for years. I was electric guitar was my thing.
Yeah.
I was really into recording music in my teens and making sort of like home recording type stuff and sort of doing everything. And then I got really into electric guitar in my 20s, got into metal.
No, okay.
Just heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So that was my jam, and then I transitioned to more of a rock band. And that sort of got me into the singing stuff. And then all those years for acoustic, I just had a 66 Gibson B25. With that narrow, 5/8 nut.
I got one of those.
Yeah. And it's surprisingly playable.
I have one that's been rebraced as an X brace inside.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, so it's like the LG one, but now it's like a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a beach one. Yeah, it's kind of like the very last of the. It was probably the last of the LG ones, and then someone rebraced it. So.
That's a fun thing about that body shape that some folks might already notice, but it's based on classical guitar.
Yeah.
So I actually ended up getting a really nice LG, like a 40s LG2. Actually ended up selling it, but I got a new case for it because I had a crappy case. It was like I looked online. You just get a classical case. And it fits perfectly.
That's funny. Well, that is also interesting to think that everything's based on the classical guitar. Really, at one point, yeah. I was talking to a guitar maker today about the specifically about Martin guitars and how Martins have a Martin sound. You got to representing
the OG.
Martins have a Martin sound, no matter what Martin it is, from what era that and where
it doesn't matter what it's made of.
Yeah, it's made out of particle board. It's made out of They all kind of have that Martin.
So true.
Let's check in with the room here and see how folks are doing. So our guitar 78 says hello because first time watching. I don't see much bass guitar content on your channel. Do you folks deal with vintage bass guitars? Yes, I play bass as much as I play guitar, I'd say. Live, I play guitar when I sing because that's but I enjoy playing bass. I've owned a lot of basses. I played bass before I played guitar.
Have you tried the Phil Lynott thing? Singing bass at the same time?
Oh, yeah. No, only when under duress. Yeah. It's just, it doesn't, only when it's have to, the bass player is sick, you have to play bass tonight.
Yeah.
But, or Paul McCartney too. He did a good job at singing and playing at the same time. But it is a little bit of this, it's a.
Yeah. No, I sort of had a similar experience. I had a, I had a trio for a while where I was playing bass and singing. And what it really helped with, actually, for me, it really helped with the sort of rhythmic structure of songs, and like really thinking about the 1 and 4 and sort of the sort of like groundwork as you're playing. Because like if you're just playing guitar and singing, you can kind of get into the mids, and you're not thinking about the low end. And the low end has a strong connection to the downbeats. Yeah. So that that really helped me connect as a singer songwriter, like to downbeats and like getting that rhythmic cadence.
Well, when I played bass, so I guess technically I did play bass first, but only for like a half a year or a year. And but one day I had an epiphany. I was playing along with a band record. This is after I've been playing for years. The Band, the Brown album. Playing around, like learning some of that stuff. And then I played the song Lookout Cleveland.
Thank you.
I was like, oh my God, I just understood counterpoint. I was like, wow, I've been playing the 1 all this time and I should be playing counterpoint.
It's magic.
Yeah. And so, so I should do more bass stuff. I did one thing. I did a video talking about my 1983 Fender made in Japan Squire. That's an interesting bass. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's one of
those, like a Mustang?
No, it's a Squire P bass, but it's like 7/8
Squire, like a Squire?
Yeah, it was the original Squire guitars in 1983, made in Japan. Yeah. 7/8. The whole thing is just a little smaller than, so that makes the scale like 32 inches instead of 34 or whatever.
That sounds fun.
It's a fun little thing. So I have a 65 Gibson LGO. My first guitar I bought new with my dad. Yeah, so it's great that you still have it. Yeah. Just picked up a 67 B15. Yep, that is it's the standard. No, the B15 amp.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Amp for bass amp. Forget about it. 60s.
Right. That is. I actually own a B15 myself. I've had it for 25, 30 years now. Something like that. It's been what's primarily used in my studio, no matter what the genre. Too. I've had metal bands use the B15 and get a good result. Yeah.
I've seen with bass amps, man. Like, I mean, there's the whole digital thing, and they've come a long way. I mean, some of those digital Fender Deluxes and stuff, they sound incredible. But I mean, you play an old Ampeg tube SVT.
Oh yeah. Those are
You just play one of those and you turn it up, and you're just like, you can't. Yeah. This is voltage. This is analog voltage. You're playing the limitation of the technology.
Yeah. Yep. And it's the compression it gives you, and the overdrive it gives you, and it's it's distortion. It's that kind of, and I probably mentioned that on this before, because an engineer said to me one time, the mixing engineer, it's like, how much harmonic distortion do you want? That's the only choice to make. Mm-hmm. Like, we are drawn to the sound of distortion. What kind and how much do you want? So like, even stuff that pretends to be clean will have harmonic distortion. And that's why we love the analog sound, because those SVT things are 300 watts. They're supposed to be clean, and they're not.
No, they're not.
But it's just like that distortion just feels so good.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's such a thing now too. Every type, the pedals, like
tape
deck overdrive, and
Have you ever handled or played the Fender Hartfield basses? I don't know that one. No, you stumped me on that one. Let us know what that is. Who else is that? So once again, for those just joining us, put a question. If you have any questions about guitars, it can be a specific question or a general question or a comment. Just put it in the. We like to have a dialogue here, so just comment on what we're saying. Introduce a topic you want to hear in the live chat. And for now, I guess we're caught up with the live chat. Hold on a minute. Usually the live chat's livelier. Oh, there we go. So let's go back to your story. So you start getting interested in acoustic guitars, and maybe I'd say your collection is primarily higher end. Is that?
I'd say. I mean, it's. I have a few that tend towards higher end, but if you really look at it,
call it mid. Actually,
I'd say mid. I mean, it's not a good word these days. But
the high end world is
money.
Yeah, $20,000-$30,000 guitars. But but for me, the highest end guitars are sometimes the Gibsons from the 50s and 60s. Those are.
Oh yeah, no, and and that's something I'm finding is my my collection that I'm sort of assembling. They tend to be ones that are like that I've just found. I got one was a is dated to 1945, Gibson J45,
Yeah.
mahogany top, maple neck. It was totally refinished in the 80s. So it was one of these from a family kind of thing. It's the grandfathers. The son refinished in the 80s. The grandkids sold it off, and they had hand done the decal.
Oh yeah.
And so when the guy was selling it, he was, it was just like a couple grand or something. And those things in original condition, they're 10 or something. So I grabbed it, and it sounds incredible.
And that's when you're keeping it guitarist.
Oh yeah, that's in the collection. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there is something, and this also goes to figure with this is this other theory that people out there might remember me saying is the more time a human spends working on an instrument, the better the instrument is. And so just at that time in the 40s and before that, and even in the 50s, they just more hands-on time and more human work went into the guitar.
Less CNC. Yep.
Well, no CNC back then, but also less just more just like sitting at a bench working on something. Less like get this thing out of here. This is the most because that was the challenge that Fender. One of the reasons Fender sold his company is it was the challenge of how do I supply demand. He just didn't even understand how to do that. Because they would sit and just slowly carve these instruments. That's how all instruments were made until the 60s, until the guitar craze. Let's see here. Have you any experience with the 1983 Telecaster Elites? You know what those about? Yeah.
No.
I think we've had them in for repair. So 83, Fender's under new management. Yeah. And trying to shake away from the CBS management things that they kind of got a bad rep a little bit. They're at a little bit of a nadir. So that was one of their innovations. They were hoping to, so it was an innovative guitar. It's not, it's my memory is, and you can tell me if you know about this, Shane, is it was bound. They came in interesting colors as well, like 80s colors, because it was the 80s. But it was an innovative guitar. From the Google collaborative brand launched in 1989 collaborative brand launched in 1989 between the American and Japanese branches of Fender to compete with Super Strat market made in Japan by Fujigen. Yeah, that's nearly correct, but not in 1989. I think if it's the Elite. The Hartfield bases. Oh, so he was saying Okay, that makes sense then. Made in Japan Fender. You know about that?
Oh, yeah, MIJ.
Oh, yeah. The MIJ, man. Yeah, those are made in Japan Fender, and the Squires that were made in Japan are great, and they still are great. They're different. And it was explained to me by a Fender, someone who was involved with Fender. It's because of the machinery is Japanese that carves the necks and stuff, and so it's not the same machines they use in the American company uses German machines, and the Japanese company uses Japanese machines. They're Japanese. And Japanese make the best stuff. And so there is a lot of pride in their workmanship there, and they made those first set of reissues for Fender. That was really at the Fujigen factory, and that was just what put them on the map.
Guitars too. I mean, they have like Kazuo Yeri, Kei Yeri, which are they're really known over here for their collaborations with Alvarez. But Kei Yeri started making classical guitars in like 1900. I mean, they have a whole guitar making.
Yeah, that's very true. Are Japanese Fenders worth the price? How do they stack against the made in Asia? Exactly. That. The asking price or the buying price? Yeah, that's the. They're quite good, and they might be they were a bargain. Now, if you had an 83 made in Japan P bass, the 83 made in Japan P bass is second only to the 63 made in the USA P bass. It's a great, and we've had a few come through here, just a great feeling, playing, sounding bass. And people come to realize that, and it went from being a $500 instrument to being a $1,200. But they are pretty damn
Similar thing happened with the Les Paul clones, like Greco is putting out in Tokai. Those are sort of well-known, sort of like the lawsuit era, and it was like you get them for a couple $100. Now those are all $1,000 or whatever. Yeah,
it's still kind of a bargain if you find a nice Tokai Strat.
I've had a few Grecos that were amazing. And I really I AB them with Gibsons, and I'd be like, Greco. Yeah, it's crazy.
And then I actually spoke with Tokai once because they're making guitars still.
Yeah.
A lot of them are being made in China. They like to emphasize their Japanese management and stuff. And they said, well, they're brought to Japan, they're set up, and then they get shipped to the. I don't know how much that's really true. Or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you have a U.S. Importer? He's like, no. And I'm like, well, could I buy maybe 100 at a time and try to, kind of, because I did a little bit of distribution with some other stuff. And they were like, not really, and I was like, or no, maybe they were like, yeah, we'll think about that. And I was like, what about those, the Les Paul guitars?
Yeah.
And he said, we are unable to export these guitars to America because of a contract. Basically, they probably make for Gibson or something. It's got a non-compete contract. They make some parts for somebody. Okay. Maybe not necessarily Gibson, but maybe Epiphone, but maybe also like. And so they're like, we can't export. So she goes, all the ones you see are bootleg or fakes. Yeah. So all the Love Rock, Les Pauls you see online.
Yeah.
So either they're not. He said, well, the guy from Tokai said those are not real Tokai guitars. They probably came from their factory in the gray market, and that because they are also pretty good.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's my knowledge of Japanese. I'm eating supermarket sushi for dinner, so I'm gonna be pretty disgraceful as far as being a Nipponophile. What would be a Japanese lover of Japan? But it is, if you buy the supermarket sushi, get the veggie. Yeah. Get with the avocado. I got avocado and cucumber. That's not going to kill you. Don't get the tuna roll
on Sunday.
From the supermarket. Yeah, don't. Sunday night. That's just asking for food poisoning.
Have a good week. Yeah.
Yeah. That dude is not behind the sushi counter on Sunday. Yeah. Okay. Had an 80s Japanese telly, was awesome. Okay. The Fender Player Plus is good. It's a Mexican version of the Fender Ultra at half the price. Yeah, the Player Plus. We have one right here. It has active electronics, a P and a J pickup. It is great, and no one's bought it. So we got one, and it's cheap. We're selling for way below price. So send us a message if you're interested. Epiphones sound dull. That's an interesting. I know what you mean.
Just in general.
Someone just said Epiphone. Yeah, someone just blurted it out. Epiphones sound dull. If you're talking about the current made in China Epiphones, there is something to them that's just not quite a Les Paul, especially their Les Pauls. Yeah. We have one here. Right. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say it because we're selling one. I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. It's fine, but I have a nice Les Paul. I have a 1970 custom that was my brother's, and now I got a 1980 deluxe. So I've been around some good Les Pauls, and so I'm picky about. I'm kind of a Les Paul snob. So that's a whole other story. And I've had an Epiphone. I had the made in Korea Epiphones. I had the made in Korea Epiphone Sheraton. That's the one Epiphone I own. I like it.
Yeah, the interesting phenomenon is like as a subsidiary of Gibson, because they started out as kind of trying to beat Gibson. They were like, only good enough when good enough isn't good enough,
Yeah.
And so then Gibson ate them.
Yeah.
And then they like even now they're doing the made in the USA Epiphones.
They never knew. So it is like
sort of like what, and they're like less than the Gibson.
Yeah,
so it's
sort of this. But made are they made in the same factory?
It's sort of interesting.
Are they being made at the Heritage Factory or something? I don't know. That's it. Or Bozeman.
I think they're in Bozeman.
Yeah, Bozeman. Yeah, but not in Nashville. Yeah. So
they're the Texans long scale, so that's a big difference. But they do long scale, like the advanced Jumbo's long scale.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Gibson long scale.
Yeah. Yeah, they never. It's kind of like the Ford Lincoln kind of thing. They never knew what to do with Epiphone. Yeah, and in the '60s it was the badge. You know what I mean? It literally they put a different logo on the same guitar and they just sold it. Yeah. So when I tried, because I have a Gibson 330, it's one of my favorite guitars. And when I tried to explain to people, I said, the Epiphone Casino, like John Lennon played, same kind of. Oh, okay, okay, because it is pretty identical.
Yeah.
And then in the 70s, they made the Epiphone made in Japan guitars. Yeah. Back when made in Japan guitars were quirky and not necessary. I still love them, but they didn't quite compare.
It was a quirky time. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Make sure the salmon was frozen, otherwise you have a 3-foot worm in your colon. Yeah, that's about. Oh boy, but no salmon in this supermarket sushi roll from me. Had a 60s, had an 80s Japanese telly. Oh, look at that. Cork Company is making those PRSs, SEs, which are cheap but great quality. We have 2 of them right behind us, right over here. Selling a couple used ones. There's nothing wrong with them. And Cork makes some good stuff, and they're manufacturing for.
I think they're
Fender now.
They're the biggest in the world, right?
Yeah,
manufacturer.
But most famously, they're making the Fender Standard Series now. They were making the classic Vibe and stuff for Fender.
Wow, really?
And, and so this is just they're probably
they're Indonesia, right?
So they are a Korean company, but they're manufacturing mostly in Indonesia and some in mainland China, I think, too.
Okay, yeah, probably makes sense. Yeah.
But they've been around since the 80s at least.
Yeah.
This is catching up with the room here. We got Salmon's Frozen, Ibanez. I had an Ibanez lawsuit, Les Paul Custom, brought it 4, 5, 6 hand. It was pretty good, but it was pretty beat, but it felt good. Was solid and sounded great. I have no idea they've become such a sought after guitar. True. Now people, and let's be honest, there was no actual lawsuit. There might have been a letter, but it was they in the 70s, late 70s, these Japanese companies went from making joke guitars to making serious guitars that are making people, players like George Benson switched to Ibanez. And so did Schofield. Yeah, he had that. He had the Ibanez. I actually had a 77. I think 77 is the year Schofield Ibanez artist in the same color as his.
Oh,
that's a long story. That's a guitar.
I got the solid body one here. With all the switches.
Oh
active system.
Right.
It was incredible. Yeah. That was a great guitar.
Oh yeah. Those are the musician. I think they call them, or that. Yeah. No, they are.
I was like, holy cow.
They're a little heavy, but
heavier than it's a heavy.
But those are still a good deal, I think, because now the hollow body Ibanez's from that early 80s or in late 70s, early 80s have gone a little nuts, but you can still get those solid bodies for $500 or $600 maybe. Is that
the one I got? I think it was 12, but it's just because it had the electronics on.
Oh, because it had all the
Oh yeah, it was insane.
Oh, you had the neck through one.
Neck through, double humbucker. I mean, it was like a deluxe model.
Yeah, that was their kind of that was also called an artist, I think, too.
Yeah, it was an artist. Yeah. Great guitar.
Cork companies are making those PRSs. No, so I already read that one. So talking about guitars, because we in our conversation there for a moment, we talked about just bonding with guitars or not bonding with guitars, and I like this. Gary's motto, used to be, and still is, I guess, but he used to have on a bumper sticker. Gary's guitars where all guitars get some respect.
There you go.
And so the idea was just doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be, whatever. Every guitar, it can be brought back to life somehow and played. And now, having said that, you brought something. Let's talk about this for a minute.
This is a funny little guitar.
Yeah. So my joke was this is like some guy took a guitar making class and then started making guitars. And you said, I don't think he took the class.
I don't think he took a single class. This is a guy, Nick Apollonio, up in Rockport, Maine, I think.
Yeah.
He ended up, this is from the 70s, and he was just figuring out his style. But he had some students. So these are pretty rare to begin with, but. Well, some people kind of made this type of
with anything. You have to. He probably learned from Charles Fox too. First of all, he took a Charles Fox course. He drove up to Vermont, took a Charles Fox course for a few weeks, came back, with his project guitar, and then moved on from there. So, for those of you who don't know Charles Fox, he's the grandfather of New England guitars. He trained our friend Peter, my friend Chris Pern, who was our repair guy for years. He's just left a legacy of luthiers all over who took it and ran with it, like this guy probably did. So, it has
some very quirky things. The neck joint is it's a bolt-on, but it's also glued and has some weird looking bracings in there. It has this classical type pinless bridge.
Does it have a fan? Does it have a fan brace back here? Is it?
Wait to get a mirror in there.
Oh yeah.
It's weird. Yeah.
But here's the thing: if you, sounds kind of good. It
sounds good.
It has a nice sound. It doesn't have a lot of low end, of course, because it's really weird. It's got these railroad tie braces right along the sound hole. Yeah. Kind of like like a but it's funky, and then because of the nature of the neck set, when it needed a neck reset, someone couldn't do a neck reset, so they did this trick, which was really common in the 70s, which is you just plane down the banana side of the neck and then refret it, and that was back when there were just not a lot of people doing that work. Yeah. Hi from Melbourne. What's your thoughts on Charvel? What do you think about Charvel?
Charvel. Yeah. From what I can tell, I don't have too much experience with them, but I actually just talked to a session player, who said Charvel's his main. He reps for them, and from what I can tell, they're incredible shredding guitars.
Not only that, Charvel's now owned by Fender. Oh. If you buy their custom shop guitar, it costs $1,000 less than the Fender custom shop. It's made by the same people in the same building. Okay. And so we've had a couple of kind of very Strat-like Charvels come through. That, great. Not just for shredding, although it is all about high performance. Mm. So Charvels can be a bit of a bargain if that's what you're into. If you want like a Strat that's strattier than the Strat, with super action, and that's the Charvel style.
I like how they do the no pick guard to kind of.
Oh yeah, that was something. Yeah,
Strat thing,
yeah, and that was something. So it was an independent. It was their own company, and Jackson, I think, was involved with that. But they had their own lines and their own way of doing things. Taking the pick guard off, I think we can credit Eddie Van Halen as the guy who first started. Oh yeah, cutting the pick guard, little bits of the pick guard off, or just the look of no pick guard.
I'm the kind of person that thinks you can't say enough about Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, as an innovator,
from soup to nuts.
Yeah,
he is just a genius.
As a player, as an innovator, he did when none of this existed. He modded guitars before anyone modded guitars. No one dared mod their own guitar. Yeah. And he did it and got results. So yeah,
people were going to the shows in '76 or ever just being like, "What is he doing?"
Oh, that too. Yeah, just just
everything about him is just like wow.
He landed here from outer space.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Even the Art Core line was good. A bunch of them out there. So I was talking about the Ibanez Art Core. You gotta be careful with the Art Core. Because it looks like an artist and it smells like an artist, but I owned one briefly because I lost that artist to a friend. Oh yeah, it's a long story. Did I tell you that? Yeah, he was a friend who was down on his luck. The guitar used to belong to him. His dad bought it for him when he was at Berkeley, and they went shopping for it together. And it just had this, And I have 20-something guitars, and this guy played guitar, and I can go days without playing guitar. This guy played guitar every day. It was his sanity, right? And so I was like, okay. This is what I'll do. You take this, but it still belongs to me, but it's your guitar. You can't sell it because he's always pawning his guitars and stuff. You can't sell it, but you play it. And so hopefully he still has it.
Emphasis on.
And then I bought an Art Core, going like, well, whatever, because it was a conversion. I play left-handed. It was a conversion, so it was a little gnarly looking, cool. The holes used to be and all that. And so I was like, oh, and then I bought the Art Core. I just didn't compare it quite.
Were those were made in Japan, or were they?
No, Art Core probably started. Maybe they started Taiwan. In Korea, or maybe just went directly to. But they were mainland China for a while too.
Yeah, I remember those it was like right around 2000, right? Like late 90s.
Yeah, I would say a little. My memory is 2000s. Yeah. Came with a big push because the artists were like when I bought that artist for $400 in the year 1997, that's what it was worth. They were just they were everywhere and no one wanted them, and now right, the thousands of dollars, I guess. I don't even know. I haven't seen the price of one lately, but yeah. And so I'm old enough to live through that time when all the cool stuff I got, I bought when it was cheap.
That's actually a good question. So what was really like was really desirable in the market in the 90s, right? Because it shifted
that's
so much since then.
Well, there was just more stuff in the market. More of the stuff was just around. And so my biggest memory, especially of Gary's old store, which is on another street here in Portsmouth he opened in 1990. And 70s Strats were like $350 because no one wants a 70s.
Oh, you could get a Moog synth for
those
nothing.
things. Oh, you could get a Moog synth in the garbage. I got a Wurlitzer in the garbage, and there was maybe at a couple broken tines, but people, I bought a Moog for $100 off a guy. Because what happened is these lounge pianists would use them as a bass, so that you wouldn't have a bass player. They use the Moog for the
it was
bass.
A tool.
Because it was monophonic too, and it didn't matter. They could play one note at a time on the bass. And then they put him in the closet when the Kurzweil came around, and so it just that stuff was wicked available. And the stuff that I love, Hammond organs, free. Leslie's, get that thing out of here. Right, and so I got a Hammond organ and a Leslie back when there were, very little money. And in my studio, my mixing console is a great mixing console I got for like, I don't know, $600. Yeah. And it's a Neotech console. They're very desirable now, but they were 16x8, and everyone started using ADATs in the 80s, the early 90s when I got mine. And ADATs required everyone got 3 ADATs, so 24 tracks. So any studio that was a real studio had 24 tracks. And so no one wanted a 16-track board. Now 16 tracks is perfect for digital recording because you're usually only going on 16 things at a time. Because you can listen back, digitally. You don't need the playback of all. Yeah. Anyway, this old man rock story. Back in my day, you could get this stuff for free. So, and there really wasn't, the collectors are really just players, and there wasn't a mania involved.
Right. I guess I haven't even actually looked. I don't even know where I'd look for it, but like the pre-war Martin thing, say when it comes to acoustics, like that was in the 70s. Yeah. Some like Japanese buyer just like paid an exorbitant amount for a pre-war Martin, and some of them was like, "Hey, wait a minute." Like George Groom was just like finding them in the trash in the 60s and whatever. It was just like it was like
look, it's a Martin. Basically, there was an idea. Something is old. It's no longer has a purpose. It's done, and you just get rid of it. But apparently, the collector craze is one thing, but also it's actually, if you want to get into the pre-war Martins, we're going to have a pre-war Martin price correction. We're under the used guitar apocalypse.
Talk about luxury,
because a lot of the owners who bought them in the 60s cheaply and have kept them all this time, their collections are now moving. They've gone to a place where you can't take your guitars with you, and we see that happening. I saw a collection. Every once in a while, someone's like, "Hey, come look at these guitars. I want to sell them." And there'll be like a half dozen Martins that someone hoarded. They all need a lot of work.
Oh yeah, of course.
Shreddy guitars were cheap in the 90s once grunge hit. Definitely, those kind of Eddie kind of guitars. Grunge took us back to, there's 2 things grunge did in my memory. The 4-piece drum set came back with a vengeance. All the Seattle guys use 4-piece drum sets, not the 5-piece.
Big muff.
Or the even bigger. The big muff pedal became the sound, and
the DS1.
People liked crappy old guitars and off-brand. Things like Mustangs and Jazzmasters and Jaguars, they were considered garbage in the 80s. That's why you see we get this Jaguar here in the store. Someone stripped it, cut the headstock, all that, because they were, they were at the time
spearfishing with it.
At the time, it was just, I got this piece of junk that no one wants. I'll try and do something cool with it. Just like today, someone might think of like just an Ibanez, just any old Ibanez off the shelf,
just something cool with it.
They were just around. They were ubiquitous, I guess is the name.
I think there's a very like deep-rooted artistic approach with the grunge thing, where it was like approach everything with this really degree of intention that was like redefining the thing as you used it.
Jazzmasters and Jaguars have made a resurgence. Yes, they have again. There's been another Jazzmaster Jaguar resurgence in the last like 5 to 10 years, but like really like people are digging them, which is cool. Although the Jazzmaster is an abomination in my opinion.
No comment. I don't have opinion.
Well,
I don't have a horse in that race.
Yeah, there's that. But so Leo Fender decided he'd make a guitar. I don't want to get too far into it. it has at least one. It has one serious design flaw, and the bridge. He wanted to put a rocking bridge. He invented a rocking bridge so the tremolo, it would be less likely to fall out of tune with the tremolo moving. Right?
Okay.
So the string would. But so he made a rocking bridge, so the bridge that sits in most Jaguar or Jazzmaster owners don't know that the bridge rocks, and so if we intonate it like at its peak and send them out the door, later that's the first time they pull on the tremolo and the bridge drifts one way or another, then the thing's not going to intonate right. And so and I've seen people on stage like, oh my God, my guitar won't go in tune. It's like you got to grab that bridge and put it back to its 0 point. Because it kind of likes to sit. They're in the little thing in a cup, and it kind of likes to sit in the upright position, but it will fall back and forth, especially people banging on the bridge while you're playing. So, anyways, Jazzmaster.
Interesting.
Old guitar like an old car. Yeah, that's how things used to be. It was like this is of no value. Yeah, mm-hmm. I love my Jazzmaster despite its quirks. Yes, you can work around the quirks.
Is it the Jazzmaster has the shorter scale? Than
the Jaguar has the shorter scale.
Gotcha.
And I often think about getting one. Even it's a cool sounding guitar. It's weird and cool, but I would put in there's upgradable bridges that don't have the design flaw. From Wilkerson and Mastery, and they figured out how to help keep your but tradition. The design itself is kind of flawed. And the irony is it's terrible for jazz. Although Nels Cline is the only guy who plays jazz on a Jazzmaster. Yeah. But the idea of having the solo channel, that we could flip the switch and have this jazzier sound. Yeah. I think that was nice try, Leo. And then went back to making Strats. G&L didn't make a Jazzmaster.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like he was like, oh, okay. So I think it was a bit of a mistake, or he would have continued the lineage of. Can you recommend a semi-hollow body guitar in the $500 range? Also, are the tones of a semi-hollow that different from a solid body? So first of all, yes, they are different. But can you think of it off the top of your head? What would you recommend for a $500-ish?
Epiphone Dot, but that's probably going to be a little bit more than 500.
Yeah. If you can find the made in Korea Epiphone Dot, I have the Epiphone Sheraton that made in Korea.
Sheraton.
Those are real nice.
Great.
Yeah. And you can still find them when people don't understand that it's the good one. But yeah, they were $600 a couple of years ago. But we're in the used guitar apocalypse, so maybe they dip back down.
Oh yeah, check your feeds. Check your feeds.
Yeah. Well, that brings up. Where do you find your guitar? So you Marketplace.
Oh yeah,
Craigslist.
Yep. Reverb mostly, to be honest. I mean, unless I'm shopping retail, there's lots of really good shops across the country for acoustics.
Yeah, and a lot of people put the guitars.
I say lots,
on,
but there's a solid handful.
Yeah,
good shops, and I think
well into the double digits.
And I think the internet has, it's a whole new age of it. Where a lot of their business is online.
Yeah, which is what I fear. And you notice that we do very little online selling here, because I kind of took my guess was, when I got into the business side of this business, was that like. Someone's going to come in and eat up all the margin in independent stores selling on Reverb and even Reverb themselves. Or there's going to be in this race to the bottom, underselling, shrinking margins. And I didn't want to get involved in that. And I think might be happening. So as a seller, as a buyer, it's great. Yeah. Because you can get stuff, it's a buyer's market right now. So
Well, I think a lot of things are shifting, And I think that guitar companies, you could say there's maybe two types. There's the giant corporations.
Yeah.
And then there's just people making guitars, and if you're just people making guitars, just like any other business, you're going to sort of, it's feast or famine, Loudon is the classic example right now. They blew up during the pandemic and everyone was like, oh yeah, Loudon, that could afford it and whatever. And then, that market is really shrinking right now.
All right. Have you noticed the guitar sales have fallen off the cliff in the past month? Well, yes. That's I fixed and sell. Someone says the guitar sales have fallen off the cliff in the last month. Yes. I fixed and sell some weird Japanese stuff, and and the Japanese stuff has taken a particular dive because I was just looking. Cheers from over in Nashua. cool. That's Nashua, New Hampshire, our neighbors.
Oh yeah.
So yes, I noticed because today I looked up a Japanese guitar. It's a global, which I was like, that would be a $350 guitar fixed up, with the single coil pickups and the humbucker, cover, and they're not potted. They kind of squeak and squeal, and kind of like we've had a couple here you might have seen over the years. It's kind of like a lawsuit Ibanez, yeah.
Not like an airline.
No, it's just called it's a Les Paul looking thing.
Oh, Les Paul.
Thinner body.
Gotcha.
Anyways, and now they're going for a couple $100 maybe. So yeah, they've taken a big haircut. But what other price corrections do you see coming as many older player collections hit the market? So what's your prediction? So I have so on this channel I've made videos about my predictions about the future guitar market, and I get blamed for being a little pessimistic. What do you think? What's happening? What's a year from now? What's 5 years from now?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think that a year from now, I think it's going to look roughly the same. To be honest with you, I think that there's this kind of there's sort of trend going on, but I do think that there is still demand for guitars. Yeah, they're still as cool as they ever were, if not cooler. It's the kind of thing where they're always making more, but they don't. We started talking about. It's like they don't all have the thing, or
right, yeah.
So I that's part of what's gotten me into the whole, the pre-owned guitar market, and there's it's just a fun world to get into. And so I think as long as that exists, I think it's going to exist. Yeah. It's not going to bottom out or anything.
Yeah, I think people overemphasize the idea of okay, now as the baby boomer generation goes on and leaves the guitars behind, is there going to be just a flood of? I don't think so. They didn't collect them as hard. I mean, you do, like I said, you do walk into a storage locker with 23 Martins in it once in a while, but they didn't collect like people today. Like everyone's got 12 guitars. Yeah, everybody's got. I used to have a lot of pedals, meaning like 20. Like I remember, like 20 years ago, whatever. I got a lot of pedals because I got a recording studio and I need a lot of different things, and that was 20 pedals. Yeah. And now there are people with hundreds, thousands of pedals.
And just having the pedals is part of it. It's not even just a tool. It's it's a collection thing.
It's a collection, and it's great. But so there weren't MXR collectors. First of all, if you were an MXR collector in 1982, you had 6 pedals because that's all they offer, or maybe 6.
There's 6 colors.
Yeah, exactly. Not even the 8-color Crayola box. They did not have violet. So,
yeah, but I mean, I'd agree with you though that there'll probably be a top haircut. I mean, there's some of these pre-war Martins, they're like 6 figures, and it's like,
oh yeah, that's the speculative part.
You'll be able to find them for less than that at some point in the next 5 years. I think that's something I'd call.
Gretsch would be a nice at that price point. Yeah, you can get used Gretches cheap right now, and they're good. So someone asked about a hollow body. That's a good piece of advice. We like Gretches. We sell Gretches. We don't have any stock right now because I was just afraid that there's so many used Gretches on the market that if we get the new Gretches that are for sale out there are going to cut into that.
Yeah, you guys have sold quite a few Gretches, right?
Oh yeah. We're proudly a Gretsch dealer, and I think when I go to my dealer meeting, I'll get talked into buying another half dozen. Just put them back on the floor. I could. I don't know. I like them. I'm pulling for them, but it's not enough to actually. What's wall guitars? You just picked up a wall and like, oh my god, this is a great guitar for $500, and that's absolutely true. Right. But so I like Walden guitars. I want them in the store. But we got to say, it's not enough to love them. They got to sell. And so it's true. We're working on that. But hi again from Sydney,
Australia.
Yeah. Oh, good day.
Yeah, good day.
Oh yeah, James has been here before. Hello, James. He's the guy in Sydney. Yeah. So oddly enough, because of the time zone differences, having this 6 o'clock time slot, we get a lot of people in England staying up at midnight. Just don't want to go to bed, and then we have the people in the morning on the other side of the world. But good morning from Australia. Where's tomorrow? Speaking of hollow bodies, Gretsch is not a bad way to go. So you can get them for. Around 500. D'Angelico too. Yeah, we've had some good D'Angelicos come through. That's and what else we got here? Gretsch. I think we're caught up with the room. Same here. Been really surprised the last few times. Yeah, about I'll say this, that I do predict future declines in used guitar values before things, but there's a spread happening.
Mm-hmm.
It was an overall decline, and now there's like some things aren't going down
Exactly.
and some things are going down.
Right.
Speaking of Paul Reed Smith SEs, man, I got 2 of them on the wall. I got them priced cheap, and then someone walked in and said, "I got this on Marketplace for $400," and it was damn, that's hard to compete with.
Yeah,
and
totally.
There's nothing wrong with those guitars. They're fine. You could buy one for $400, play for the rest of your life.
Totally, but chasing the deal, it's a mindset. It's good to remember that it's about playing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you can't think of that.
And if it's just about the dollar sign, it's you can get a rush out of it, but at the end of the day, it's a guitar.
At the end of the day, the house always wins.
Got that right.
Yeah, you're not gonna. If money is your barometer of like how to run things, then you're not gonna do well in this world, first of all, and not in the guitar world either. Because you're not, in the end, if you keep rolling the dice, you're gonna crap out. And if you accept that, you're like, I like rolling dice, so I'm just gonna keep rolling these dice because every time I don't crap out, I like that feeling. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you gotta know what game you're playing.
You gotta know the game. You gotta know the game.
And then be smart about it. You don't have to,
Definitely. And retail is retail, like there's a reason things have a price at retail. That costs money to run a business. There's overhead. It's a brand new instrument. I mean, and so I think that, depreciation is just a fact. And like, I think, dancing around that is like, oh man, but it's not. It's totally cool and okay. I mean, there's such a thing as gouging, and there can be, but I think overall, if a business is in business, they're probably, especially like you, I mean, you're operating pretty slim margins. You're trying to, keep people happy and, just keep the money flowing.
You gotta walk a line. Yeah. Michael Krause, Michael and I worked together 20 years ago, and then like we just figured out he was in the store. He's in Andover. I used to work in Andover. Anyways, Michael's just chimed in. So hello, Michael. And I got my SE years ago for $200. It was a steal, not literally. Well, you might want to double check that serial number because and so he's in Andover, and that's right next to Lawrence. And Lawrence is the kind of town you could get your guitar stolen in. So it's a rough crowd.
Yeah, I was going to say, you didn't just find $200 in the case.
So no, just joking about that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like something that's used, you should be able to, you got your use out of it, be able to move it on.
Absolutely.
So many people hoard things, or just like they can't, like, oh, I can't take a loss on this. Some days just
letting go is a beautiful feeling.
It is, yeah. I like renting a dumpster every once in a while. You ever do that? Yeah. Just rent a dumpster, put it in your yard, and just start tossing stuff into it.
Oh, it's great.
And that's a good feeling. Yeah,
it is.
Ampeg guitar amps, real sleepers, and sound amazing. Thoughts? Yes, we have one right here.
The blue one?
Yeah, the blue one. It's a made in the USA Ampeg.
Does it have the vibrato built in?
Yeah, it's a reverb and vibrato. Yeah. It's probably Reverb Rocket 2 or something. It's from the 90s when they reissued. Even their vintage amps are still a good job. They are considered heavy by today's standard. Like that amp wasn't heavy until recently, and now everyone's, oh my god, it's so heavy. That's another thing in the amp world. I drove into Boston for it. Poor guy had to make rent. Okay, that's the story of the $200 SE. Yep. And it's 2 standard for $850 in 2019, which is a solid deal. You can find them used now under $800. Yeah, I mean that's yep. And I don't want to because we're nearing the end, and I don't want to dwell on the fact that guitars are getting cheaper, and not in the best way. But getting back to the point is like you got to be in it for the love of music. Mm-hmm. People who I like music and I want to speculate because we see them come and go too. People are like, and or trying to add value, buy a guitar, set it up, and then resell it, and you're kind of like paying for your time working on the guitar. But there's some of that going on. You got to do it for a love of music and a love of guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in it, if acoustics are you're interested in them, I would say market wise, it's a good time to be looking at like small luthier builds. You know, it's because it's just a lot of really good stuff out there, and not every builder is commanding the thousands of dollars that others are. You know, and that's still a great guitar.
And even or small production shops that are smaller too.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like that one.
Weber. David Weber.
Weber, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Out of Alberta, Canada or something? Or British Columbia, I think. That's a sweet guitar.
Yeah, we're pointing at a Weber guitar. They're a Canadian company. Look them up.
I actually think it's one of the best body designs. When we grab it.
Sure, yeah.
It's a good looking guitar.
It's kind of Gurian. My thing is, if you want a Gurian that isn't falling apart, buy this.
And it's a little kind of sexier. It's a nice looking guitar.
Yeah.
Full scale, 25 and a half.
All right, serenade us on our way out. Well, once again, thank you, Mike, for coming in and hanging out and talking about guitars. And thanks everyone for watching. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. And we'll talk to you soon. Stand by for the end.